Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm taking a look at the Las Vegas Raiders and going over whether or not I think they're a contender or a pretender. But before getting to that topic, just a quick question for those of you, and comment down below, who do you think will lead the Las Vegas Raiders in receiving yards in the upcoming season? You think it'll be sophomore Henry Ruggs, underrated Hunter Renfrow, X-Factor Darren Waller, newly added John Brown, whoever you got to be in, comment down below who's Derek Carr's #1 option going to go to. But getting straight into it, looking at the Raiders as a whole, they have a relatively solid team from top to bottom. Darren Waller obviously going to be the carrier in the receiving corps, in my opinion. Yeah, there's talent in Hunter Renfrow, in John Brown, in Henry Ruggs, but Darren Waller, he's top 3 at their position. None of those guys are even top 10 at their position, so you get the point. Again, no discredit to Ruggs. I do think he's going to develop and be a lot better in year 2 than he was in year 1. Hunter Renfrow, I said, is underrated. John Brown's a pretty good slot receiver. He's got some speed to him. I like the Raiders' receiving room for the most part. Is it the best? No. But is it the worst? No. And therefore, that's something to work with. Backfield, Josh Jacobs is not always there as a starter. He just always, something comes up to where he's not playing the full season. But he does have the pure talent and raw skill to be one of the best backs in the league. I do think he's top 10 in the league. If not, he's right around 11 or 12. I'd have to sit down and make my list. But off the top of my head, I do think he'd fall under the top 10 running backs for sure. Offensive line, I have my concerns. I wasn't that big of them losing Rodney Hudson, but they still addressed it. They kept it Richie Incognito. They drafted Alex Leatherwood. They're addressing it. I don't think it's going to be a great offensive line by any means, and I don't like Derek Carr under pressure. And I do have my concerns there, and there's no denying that, but there are still some specks of talent on the offensive line where it's just not, I'm not out there blocking. They still got guys that you could count on for the most part, but there is going to be some worrisome around that offensive line for sure. Getting to Derek Carr, he's a guy that's on the brink of being a top 10 quarterback, top 15 for sure. He's as efficient and consistent as he comes. You know where you're going to get out of Derek Carr every year. He just needs some more talent around him to get to that next level. I like Derek Carr. I feel like he goes underrated sometimes. I feel like he falls under the radar, but he does have a lot of talent, and he has a lot of determination when it comes to playing football. I like his work ethic. I do think he's somewhat underrated. He's not this top 8 talent, but I do think he can be and fall under top 10 in some aspects, just depending how we'll see this upcoming season. If he could get there, I don't think he has the talent to really support him all around, but his raw skill, I do think, could get him in the conversation. John Gruden being the head coach, a lot of question marks surrounding him. I know he's on a 10-year deal, but at what point is he on the hot seat if he can't get his team to the playoffs? I know this is only going to be, year 4 on his 10-year contract, not even halfway. But still, at some point in time, they need to see some major improvement. Off the top of my head, I think he's improved them every year, going from 5-11, 6-10, 7-9. I think that there's been a 1-game improvement every year, but still, they need a big jump. They need a playoff appearance. They need some big type of action to explain why they gave him such a big and expensive contract. I believe it was 10 years, over $100 million. John Gruden needs to do more. Again, it's not completely his fault, but at some point in time, I do think he'll be on the hot seat sooner or later. Looking at the defense, not the strongest, but they did address some things in the draft and in free agency. They brought in Malcolm Kuntz and Yannick Ngakoue to help out the pass rush, to give Jonathan Hankins, Carl Nassib, Solomon Thomas, give some of those guys some help. It's not going to be the best pass rush by any means, but it'll be a little bit more notable than last year. Looking at the secondary, Jonathan Abrams, they added Trevon Moore, they added Casey Hayward. Some young talent, some older talent, some more talent. That's what matters. They addressed it. Is it going to be this lockdown secondary or defense as a whole? Definitely not, in my opinion, but they're working on it, and that's what the Raiders need to do. They understand they're in a tough division. They're not going to, sign a big name that could just go toe-to-toe with the Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, or Mahomes, but they're at least trying to improve their team, and I do think they're doing a good job at slowly getting there. As far as my vote goes towards contender or pretender, unfortunately for the Raiders, it goes to pretender, and let me explain. For the video, I'm defining contender as Super Bowl contender, not a team that's in the hunt for the playoffs, not a team that's in the hunt for a playoff appearance, not a team that gets a playoff appearance and a playoff win. I'm talking about a team that gets in the playoffs and gets all the playoff wins, goes all the way, gets an appearance in the big game, brings home the big trophy. Super Bowl contender, not a team that can fight for the playoffs, a team that is fighting for a Super Bowl, a team that's on par with the Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Browns, Titans, Bucks, Packers, Rams. Not a team that's under them or below them or is not even close to them, a team that's with them or above them, and the Raiders are not that. I don't want to say pretender as a super negative connotation in the sense that they're going to have a top 3 draft pick, but a pretender in the sense that they're just not ready for a Super Bowl. They're not living up to that criteria. To me, if you ask any NFL fan, they're going to agree with me. If you ask a Raiders fan, they're going to think I'm stupid and think they're going to go to the playoffs and be the next best thing. You're not. All right, you're in one of the toughest divisions in football. You're not going to stop the Chiefs dynasty. Broncos are the best second year in the NFL. Justin Herbert's on the come up. You're in a very tough division, and that's fine. You just have to accept it. Don't lie to yourself about it. The Raiders aren't going to be that great this year. Yeah, they could have some surprising games like last year where they pull off an upset, maybe split a game with the Chiefs just because of the random game. They're not a team I would brush off if I'm playing them in the upcoming week, but they're not a team I would give, just as much attention to as if I was playing the Chiefs or the Bucs, the best teams in the NFL. I wouldn't put them up to those expectations, and that's just insane too. If you are, they're not that great. Could they maybe be in the hunt for a wild card spot? Possibly. But are they going to be in the running to win a Super Bowl, to go to the AFC Championship, to go to the Super Bowl, to play a Bucs, to play a Rams, to play a Packers, to play a Niners, whoever they're going to be? No, the Raiders are just not ready. They got a couple of fundamental players to rely on, a couple specks of talent across the team: Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller, Casey Hayward, Yannick Ngakoue. They got specks of talent, and they have a very cerebral head coach in John Gruden, but still 4, 5, 6 guys can't carry an entire 22 starting man roster, and therefore they're just not ready. I'm excited to see how their future goes after this upcoming season, if they'll make a big offseason move, whether trade Derek Carr or trade for a weapon or trade for a corner, trade for a big pass rusher, trade up in the draft, fire John Gruden. I'm excited for what comes with this season, because I do think it'll reflect a lot of what happens in the following offseason. But to me, it's not going to be a great season for the Raiders as far as Super Bowl aspirations. Again, they can maybe be running for a wild card spot. I don't think they will be. I think they'll be below 500, anywhere from 6 to 9 wins. To me, 9 and 8's right around their ceiling, in my opinion. They're just not that great this year. They have specks of talent. Like I said, you got guys you can rely on, and guys that will get better, but you don't have guys that are going to compete for a Super Bowl. But who knows? I haven't seen the season yet. Maybe my opinion will change after week 1 and they just destroy someone and that I wasn't expecting. We'll have to see. I do want to hear from you guys, though. Comment down below. Do you agree or disagree with my take that the Raiders are pretenders? Maybe one of your comments could change my opinion if I saw the right take, but who knows? I'm referring back to the question today: who do I think will lead the Raiders in receiving yards? I think Henry Ruggs will improve a crap ton, but Darren Waller is just easily the best player on that team. He's the top 3 tight end in the league. He plays like a receiver. He's got the speed of a receiver. He's as big as a tight end. He's an X factor, and I think he will easily lead this team in receiving yards, but you guys tell me. As always, and of course, I truly appreciate it. Thank you for watching. 2-minute warning.